Oh, yeah. So we got a lot going on right now. What's up, everybody? As Bo Nix just gets drafted by the Broncos. All right, so where do we start? 76ers, end of the third quarter. I think they're up 13. I have the Sixers on my phone. And all you smart asses out there that are saying, nice of me to join you. Unfortunately, we had a makeup softball game tonight that didn't start till late. So I am just literally got to put the kids to sleep or whatever. So I am been paying attention to everything that's going on. But Bo Nix drafted by the Broncos at 12. But the 76ers, let me pull up the box score here. End of three, they're pulling away a little bit at the end of the third quarter. Up 13, 98-85. I put out the lock of the year, and I tweeted it. I said that it almost like Sixers are going to win this game. They have to win this game. It was unfortunate that they lost both of the first two games to the Knicks. Knicks didn't dominate them. Sixers could have won both games. The refs kind of screwed the 76ers, as we saw at the end of game 2. So probably get some favorable calls, get some home cooking. Like I'm not telling you the league fixes these games, but yeah, the home team normally gets more calls, especially after the referees just screwed them. So now they still have to hold on and win the fourth quarter, which you've seen them not do. But they're up 13, and Embiid 35 points. On my Out of the Parks with John Marks on Bet Parks yesterday on our show, I said take the over with Embiid on everything. But I tweeted out Kelly Oubre on threes. The over-under was 1.5. So if he gets 2 threes, it paid out plus 180. So he just went over with a 3. He's over in points as well. And Embiid 35, Maxey 21. And Embiid's been dominant at a dominant third quarter. So Sixers are cruising a little bit here. We're going to welcome Delco Steve in, who's been waiting to come on. Delco Steve, 76ers, not going to call it a comfortable lead because there is no lead that's comfortable with the Sixers.
Nah, but I'm glad they just eliminated the halftime lead for Brock Bowers to the Raiders. Holy crap, this is getting interesting.
Yeah. So we have the Sixers, which obviously we'll follow along with, but the NFL draft. First of all, it started with AJ Brown getting a contract extension, huge money contract extension. The Eagles just pay everybody, so there's no issue there. Historic contract, highest paid wide receiver in the league until Justin Jefferson gets a new contract or somebody else gets a new contract. But the Eagles are locking up their players, and Jerry Jones doesn't want to pay CeeDee Lamb. Jerry Jones doesn't want to give his quarterback a new contract. I don't know where the money is down in Dallas. The Eagles seem to have a Brinks truck. They pay everybody. So very exciting that the Eagles have both of their wide receivers, both of their Pro Bowl type wide receivers. AJ Brown's one of the best wide receivers in the league. So it's great to see him re-signed. But some fireworks here in the draft, Delco Steve, as we just had pick, was it 13?
13.
The Raiders just got Brock Bowers 13. But what transpired here in the last however many picks here has been a little bit nuts. So it didn't go exactly how I thought, or how a lot of people were thinking that it was going to go, because McCarthy didn't go. A lot of people thought that JJ McCarthy was going to go 4 or 5 or 6. That did not happen. Why can't I on ESPN.com? Why can't I just pick up all right? So it goes Williams, Jaden Daniels, Drake May. No surprise there. Arizona doesn't outthink it. They take Marvin Harrison Jr. there. All Neighbors. And then here's where it gets interesting. Yeah, J.C. Latham goes 7 to the Titans. So at number 8, Michael Penix goes to the Falcons. And I don't think anybody had Penix going anywhere outside. It seemed like the floor for him was the Raiders at 13, right? You heard a lot of Raiders at 13. Right, right, exactly. Or he could be in the second round. And so he goes 8. And I'm totally fine with the Falcons if they look at Penix and they're saying, like, we love this guy, we think he is a star. Absolutely. Overdraft him, draft him. You have to get the player. But you just signed Kirk Cousins to a $100 million contract. and Penix isn't 21 or 22 years old. JJ McCarthy's 21. You can make the case that he needs some seasoning. Drake May maybe isn't ready to start right away. If there's any of these quarterbacks that are ready to start right now, it's Michael Penix. So he's going to be 24 May 8th. So you just drafted a 24-year-old pick, a top 10 pick quarterback after you just signed a $100 million quarterback in Kirk Cousins. I'm stunned, Delco.
I literally screamed "Holy fuck" at the TV. I couldn't believe it. You had your boy Adam Schefter come on before and say it was possibly a quarterback, and all they went to was JJ McCarthy, and then all of a sudden it's Penix. I don't know. It makes no sense to me. Why would you, if you're thinking about drafting a quarterback, and it's just crazy because for the last few years, everyone was saying they should draft a quarterback, and they just kept drafting skill position players.
And they did, right.
Skill position player. All right, you go sign Kirk Cousins in free agency. All right, that makes sense. Now you have all these young skill guys around him. Why wouldn't you add to that and take I don't know. It makes no sense to me. I don't like the idea of drafting a 24-year-old either that early.
Kirk Cousins is $100 million guaranteed for the next 2 seasons.
Yep.
So as far as trading him, I mean, there's no comp to any of this. I don't know the cap implications. Or he's guaranteed $100 million over the first two years of the contract. So are you letting him play? Penix will be 26 years old if you let him play those 2 seasons. And by the way, when you draft a quarterback in the top 10, it's not fair to Kirk Cousins, right? Because now everybody's waiting to see you want to see your young quarterback. You don't want to see Kirk Cousins out there. Oh my God, if
he doesn't come in and kill it right away, coming off of an Achilles injury, it's where's Penix?
Right. Yeah, exactly. It is. If he has a bad game, it's like put Penix in. I mean, you've created a quarterback controversy. Obviously, I'm trying to. When did they sign? When was the start of free agency? The beginning of March, right? Because the Falcons are going to lose a draft pick because of tampering with them. By the way,
yeah.
Lose like a 3rd-round draft pick.
Just like us with Saquon Barkley.
Right. Yeah. The Eagles are probably going to lose a draft pick. Yeah. So not only are you losing a draft pick for tampering, and I know the draft process, it's been a month and a half since free agency started, but that's pretty shitty to sign Kirk Cousins and give him all this money, and a month and not even a half later, you're drafting a quarterback in the top 10 that really needs to start playing right away. I mean, it's crazy. I don't. Can they even trade him right now? I don't know. It's crazy. So that was
I doubt it. It's got to be a huge cap hit if they trade him right now. It's got.
Yeah, I don't know how you do it.
This is the same regime, the same work, the same general manager, coaching staff. You had these guys in place when you signed Kirk Cousins. It makes zero sense to me.
Unless
his injury is something up with his injury, but wouldn't you have known that?
No, I don't think it's that. I think it's that they visited with Penix. They worked Penix out. They probably brought him in for one of these top. They can do the 30 prospects. They probably brought him in, and I had read somewhere that their head coach loved them. Raheem Morris loved them.
Yeah.
So
that should tell you not to draft them.
No, but here's what I'll say. That if you truly believe that this guy is an elite Super Bowl winning type quarterback, and you didn't flush that out until during the process after you already signed Kirk Cousins. Now, do you, just because you signed Kirk Cousins, do you not draft the quarterback, or do you say, hey, fuck it, I'm drafting him anyway? Because in 3 years, if Penix is a top 5 quarterback, what do you care? Right?
Yep.
It's sloppy. You just don't ever see anything like this where somebody goes out. I mean, Kirk Cousins, they're going to lose draft because they tampered with them. That's how gung-ho they were about getting Kirk Cousins. I thought it was stupid. They're not winning a Super Bowl with Kirk Cousins. They should have drafted a quarterback before.
Yep.
Nope. Now they have a young
Kyle
quarterback.
Pitts at 4th overall.
Yeah.
Yep. I know he just squeaked like a little girl, but that was just as shocking then.
It was. Yeah, it was. Yeah, they took a tight end over. Now, the quarterbacks who were there might have been bad. They could have taken Justin Fields, and maybe that wouldn't have worked out. But I don't know. I was just shocked with it. So Penix
I don't
Penix
know how
still,
they don't say to watch or Minnesota, hey, we're taking JJ McCarthy. If you want him, you got to swap with us. And
right.
then and let them call your bluff. And then if they call your bluff, then you take Penix anyway.
Yeah, I think they were worried about the Raiders jumping up. I mean,
Right, but that's
isn't
what I'm
it
saying. If you let the Vikings jump up to 8, then there's nowhere really for the Raiders to jump in,
9?
and you take him. Yeah, but do you think the Bears would really have dropped to?
Dude, they love this guy so much that they were willing to, more or less, they're willing to eat Kirk Cousins $100
Yeah,
million guaranteed over the next
yeah, they're
2
gonna.
years.
You're right. They're gonna do something stupid.
Yeah, so like they were not going to lose the player. They trade back, and then someone trade. Let's say the Raiders say, "Hey, he's available. Let's get to 9," and then they draft him there. Who the hell knows? But they were.
Yeah, but I feel like it's a no lose situation for you. If Penix falls to you at 11, great. If you drop to 11 and the Raiders just jump in front of you, you still have Kirk Cousins and you still can draft a quality player. That's obviously that they're dropping down the board.
It sounds like I'm defending the Falcons here, but if they love the player that much, you take him at 8. You don't fuck around with it.
I think the trade would have saved them from themselves, probably.
Probably. All right, so
and then like you said, you get the draft capital that you would be probably losing when you get the tampering penalty.
Yeah, you get that back. You're right. So Bo Nix goes 12 to the Broncos. He's overdrafted.
Fuaga, the Oregon State tackle to the Saints,
who the Eagles were talking about. So let's now bring it back to the Eagles. So now you're at 14. There's been a lot of talk with the Eagles trading up. Colts are on the clock now, and
this has got to be a defensive player.
Well,
it's got to be.
But also, here's this. This could also be a potential match for the Eagles. They get ahead of Seattle. And they have a relationship with the Colts. Howie has a relationship.
This was my mock trade: the Eagles to the Colts.
Yes, exactly. So if the Colts and the Eagles, obviously Howie Roseman goes in and he knows which teams he could potentially trade with to trade up or to trade back. So maybe because of the relationships that they have with the Colts, this is a possibility. So we'll have to keep an eye on that as the Colts are now on the clock. So it's the Colts, Seahawks, Jags, Bengals, Rams, Steelers, Dolphins, and then the Eagles are slated to pick 22nd overall, and we'll see. I know Daniel Jeremiah had said yesterday or the day before there's a 0% chance that Howie's drafted at 22, whether he goes up and he goes down. Couple of offensive linemen gone so far. You have 4, Latham,
Fashanu,
the Penn State kid, yeah, and then Fuaga, who just went from Oregon State. He was somebody that the Eagles reportedly had a lot of interest in. So now you have a couple of the other guys that were thought to be in this range coming up in the next 10 picks. And I would not only would I not be surprised, I'm expecting the Eagles to trade up here and to select one of these offensive linemen. That would be my prediction right now, that they trade up and grab an offensive lineman.
Honestly, out of besides Alt at the top, who is just a monster. He's only been playing the position 2 years and he's pretty much got it figured out almost already. The kid from Washington, I'm trying to get his name so I don't butcher it. He was like an all Pac-12 offensive tackle that is projected to be a guard in the NFL, right, which would be probably a really good fit. And then if he can develop into a tackle, that would be the ideal situation probably for what they're looking for, someone to play guard that can kick out in 3 or 4 years to right tackle.
Yep. Yeah. And that's exactly what's going to happen. You're going to have your starting right guard right now. And if Lane gets injured or whatever, or whenever he's done playing, then you have your ready-made replacement right there. Yeah. So, there are still a lot of trying to see who. Dallas Turner hasn't went yet, because that was not a single defensive player yet. That's amazing. And that's also, everybody had the Falcons taking Dallas Turner.
Everyone. Apparently there was murmurs a couple hours, I guess between 7 and now, that the Falcons would take a quarterback, but no one took it seriously.
Turner is also a possibility of a player that the Eagles could jump up and grab. Edge rusher, it's a need. He would be the first defensive player taken in the draft. Whoever the next defensive player is the first defensive player. Try to see who else is here. A lot of corners kind of mocked to be going right here. The Faltanu,
Yeah.
Troy Faltanu from
I
Washington.
found it and I wasn't going to butcher. I was like, oh, I don't got that in pronunciation. So I didn't even go for it.
So also Latu is a guy that very easily could be going in this range that the Eagles could also have interest in. Another edge rusher that he certainly, as far as being polished, he is a guy that is extremely polished and should be able to come right in and contribute right away. The problem with him is there were teams that are worried about the medicals and potential injuries going forward. But you still have a lot of the other offensive linemen that were kind of thought to be going right there. And they're showing Dallas Turner right now up on the screen. 76ers, meanwhile, they're up 12 and about 6:50 left to go in the game. Knicks just scored a bucket.
15, let's go.
Yeah, need 3.
No, he just got 15.
Oh, did he?
Oubre. Yeah.
So you hit the over?
Yeah. Oh, well, yeah. I had him at my boy Kev gave me 10.5 and 15. So we went with that and both just hit. Let's go.
Dang. All right. Yeah, Oubre had a good game. Buddy Hield's still giving you nothing. He hasn't even gotten minutes. They're not even putting him out there. So shows you what Nick Nurse thinks of Buddy Hield.
3 minutes early in the game, made 2 dumb shots, and
and he hasn't been back since.
Nope.
It beat 13 of 18. He's got 41 now. And we didn't get to talk about the whole Kyle Neubeck and Howard Eskin thing because we haven't been on since then. But like the big thing about that Kyle was talking about was, and it's kind of how I felt. Even we were on Monday night right after the game. We were on during the game and then right after the game. And there were some people in the chat that were saying, like FMB, blah blah blah. And right in the moment, right after the game's over, and you look at his stat line, but the trump card always is, but they lost. And it's like,
I watched that replay over and over again. They got hosed at the end.
They got hosed.
I didn't catch it as much because we were talking. And it's hard to pay attention to both.
It's very difficult. Yeah, it's very difficult while we're doing
it's this. He dominated that game and they got hosed at the end.
They got hosed. Nick Nurse called timeout. Like, it doesn't do anything, but like the Sixers got hosed, right? Well, like I understand not getting past the second round, and Embiid's got to own a lot of that. He just does. He's the best player. He's come up small in a lot of these games, but there's times where like, what do you want him to do? What do you want? Like literally, he's a center. He's not a guard. He can't have the ball in his hands all the time, right? The team around him more or less is mediocre. And again, I'm not the biggest Joel Embiid fan in the world. I'm not. But you know what I'm a fan of? His talent. He's an unbelievable player. And, he's showing it again tonight. He's got 41. But that was like more or less Howard. Howard is going to beat up on Embiid, and he's going to beat up on Embiid, and he's going to beat up on Embiid until Embiid wins or he leaves. And then he's going to be best friends with Embiid. Kyle laid it out perfectly. It's true. That's what he does. Like Howard battled with Doc Rivers and battled with Doc Rivers. He battled with AI. All the guys that he battles with, he's friends with afterwards. And the guys like kind of respect them because I think they get him afterwards. There's guys that like Charlie Manuel. Charlie Manuel will never be okay with him, right? Howard was totally out of line. So was Cataldi.
Latu, first defensive player.
So Latu went. Okay.
Yep. Colts.
Yeah, good picks. Like you had said when we're talking about a possible trade up scenario, they really needed to get an edge rusher, to get the first edge rusher off of the draft off the board is good value for them.
This is shaping up where Verse could be there at 22 for us for an edge rusher.
I don't know. Oh, man, it's just
it's going to be close.
You wonder if there's going to be a run now on him.
Well, you got to, like, Turner's good. Seattle apparently likes Murphy, the D tackle. And even, I would assume Turner's going before Verse anyway. So there's that one edge rusher like off the board. And you only got 4 picks really besides that.
Yep. Well, there's
a defensive lineman instead of an offensive lineman. Can't believe I'm actually saying that. But
and all the corners. The corners.
I'm not even getting myself excited about a corner.
All the corners are there.
Until that card says a corner's name on it, I will not believe it.
I agree. So if the Eagles stay at 22, I think that they're taking an offensive lineman. If they trade up, it could be very easily an edge rusher. And if they trade back, that could be an offensive lineman or a corner. I don't think they trade back and take a defensive end. I think they see the value in an edge rusher, and that's where they go up to grab them. Somebody that slid a little bit.
I would like to see like a receiver go like 1 or 2 picks before us, and then all those teams at the back end of the first round that need a first round receiver to overpay to jump back.
Start going crazy. Yeah, could happen.
Because there's going to be a run at the end of the first on receivers.
I mean, it's impossible to know if one of these offensive linemen that have been taken already, because there was no consensus on where a lot of these offensive linemen that were being drafted, like 11, 14. There was no consensus on where they were going to go other than in this range and in no particular order. So the Eagles very well may have loved the kid from Oregon State, and when he's gone, now they're like, oh shit. So we're not going to trade up or whatever. So we'll see. Pretty interesting. 76ers up, 5 minutes and 50 seconds left to go. Joel Embiid's taking foul shot number 2, 113-99. At this point, to lose this game, I'll never watch another Sixers game again.
I'll have to buy a new TV, we already know I'm not the biggest Sixers fan in the world, but I would need to buy a new TV if that were to happen.
Yeah, I mean they're not expensive, so it wouldn't be. You have to record yourself destroying the TV first, so you get the viral hit.
No, I can't be one of those videos that go across Instagram of me destroying TV. If I'm destroying a TV, I'm doing it, and then I'm going to go buy a new one and not say a word about it.
Right. Yeah. Well. Looks like as the Knicks continue to get second chance points, a 3-pointer. So now the Sixers rolling up 11. Yeah, these offensive rebounds, man, killed them last game late. So let's hope the Sixers can hold on. That line was 5.5 points. So I know there's probably a lot of people out there that with that 3 was just kind of like, oh boy. So I missed 3 by the Sixers too. As who's on the clock now there, Delco Steve?
Seattle.
We have the Seahawks on the clock. Who doesn't it feel like another 3 by the Knicks? It's an 8-point lead for the 76ers.
Oh, Jesus.
4 minutes and 37 seconds left. What could possibly go wrong, Delco Steve? Other than another 3.
It can at least be Brunson so I can hit my bet with that. Yes, I bet on Brunson. But
so you bet Brunson over?
I had 29.5 and 35.
29.
Figured he had to bounce back after 2.
He shoots it enough for Christ's
exactly.
sakes.
He's shooting almost 30 times a game. He should get 30 points.
13 and 25 for Brunson.
He had 29 the other night, and he got 20.
He couldn't hit anything. Yeah, he just takes so many shots, high volume. And B going to the foul line, he's almost always money there. And yeah, like this is like when you look at Embiid, he's taken 15 foul shots now, I believe, or 14 foul shots right now. This is exactly what you need. You give him the ball, you let him suck up the fouls because he's going to get the calls, especially after game 2, especially being home, and you let him score 50 points. He's got 45 points, 7 boards. Sixers up 10 now, 4 minutes left to go in the game. All right, so you have the Seahawks up. And, I mean, honestly, the Seahawks kind of worry me just because you could totally see them taking an edge rusher that the Eagles may like or may have value. Doesn't it just seem like the MO of the Seahawks is like, get the defensive end or get the outside linebacker that can rush? So we'll see.
They just hired a defensive head coach.
Right. So then you look down, the Jags. It feels like the Jags have a good defense.
Jags need a wide receiver.
I don't know the status of their offensive line. They probably need an offensive lineman.
Probably wouldn't hurt.
So they have, and at this, honestly, in this range, you could see the Jags doing something stupid and reaching on a player. Bengals at 18. They do not need a wide receiver.
Trey Hendrickson just requested a trade.
Yeah.
So they could be in the market for an edge.
Good. You're right. Rams Don't need wide receivers, but they
Actually,
need
there was talk about them trading up into the top 10 today for a potential wide receiver, if like to get a Dunze
if you
or
slid a little bit.
Brock Bowers.
Well, didn't happen. Steelers at 20. They always need offensive line help, and then they draft well on defense. So I don't know what they're looking for. The Dolphins at 21, they could use line help. So
They lost a lot. They lost
they lost a lot. Yeah,
Lawrence on defense and
yeah.
not Lawrence. Oh my god.
No, I know who you're talking about. They truly are a best player available because they have needs.
If Murphy's there at 21, they're probably taking him there.
Yeah, they need the corner. So that wouldn't surprise me if they took a corner. That would definitely be a Miami Dolphin pick, right?
Oh no, I'm sorry. I was talking about Murphy, the D tackle from
gotcha. Who am I
from Tech. No, there is another Murphy. But no, I was referring to the D tackle from Texas. He's been compared to Aaron Donald because of his size, and obviously it's one of those things you have to see it to actually see if it's true or not. But it's like, yeah, he did it in college. Can he do it like the same way Aaron Donald did as an undersized D tackle in the NFL and became like one of the best players?
Sixers up 8, under 3 minutes to go. It's only 8. Kyle Lowry checking out here. He's
Murphy to the Seahawks.
Yep. Yeah, not surprised. Not surprised. So why is this Dallas Turner not getting drafted? Everybody's just like, I never saw anything else other than the Falcons are taking him at 8. It's the perfect fit or whatever. I don't know. I mean, he keeps sliding. He keeps sliding. I don't know.
I feel like there was nothing like bad on him.
No, you didn't hear anything other than
I feel like he was the most consistent guy. He wasn't like the highest upside guy, like Latu or Robinson were the higher upside guys. But he was the guy that was like, he's going to be everything.
He's going to be good. Yeah. I don't know. He's available. He's not. He didn't play for Georgia. He didn't play for Georgia though. So Howie may not be interested.
He's in the Alabama and Georgia guys. I'm okay with that.
All right. So who do you have on the clock? Who do you have on the clock here now? You got the Jags. So you have Doug. Not that Doug's making the pick, but still, you wonder if Doug says like, no, fuck them. We're not trading with them. Screw Howie. Yeah, I don't know. It's getting get a little dicey. Most of the players that I've seen go to the Eagles, none of those players are gone except for maybe the UCLA kid. And I didn't ever believe that they were going to get him. He went exactly where I thought he was going to go, which was the early teens. He was way too productive in college. He's way too good of a player. It's a little bit of a risk because of the injury stuff, but that's why he didn't go top 8 or top 7. That's why he went where he went. All right, so the Steelers the Seahawks make their pick.
Actually, it's not official yet.
So are the insiders tweeting out the picks, or are they not tweeting out the picks?
I thought I saw something for Murphy.
Because my favorite thing is when
the insiders are tweeting him out. Yeah, Murphy to 16, and they haven't announced it on TV yet.
You get the people that are mad because they're on Twitter and they're looking, and then they're also on they're watching on TV, so they know it before it goes on TV, and they're bitch like, oh wait, you thought you weren't doing spoilers. Get off of Twitter and stop looking. You know that it's going to be there. If you want to really have suspense and you want to know from Roger Goodell, then log off, dude. I don't know what's going out there.
I agree with you, but at the same time, I don't understand why the insiders do it anyway. It's
because they're losers. That's why they're losers.
No sense. Like, what do they gain out of it? I had it first. Like, it gets turned into everybody at the same time.
But it's like that's what people. But here's what I'll say: people follow them to get that information. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah,
mute them for the night or something. Log off. You don't have to be on there. If you want to watch the draft, watch the draft. You don't have to be on Twitter and be like, "Oh, fuck you, Schefter. Why are you putting this out there?" Mute them or block them for the night. For Christ's sakes, I already saw it with something. I forget who it was. It was the Penix pick, and people were complaining about like, "Whoa, oh, spoiler, F you. It's like, well, it's their job. Seriously, it's their job. If Michael Penix is going to be drafted 8th before it gets announced on TV, they should put it out there. It's their job to put it out there.
See, that one I would understand because it's like a blockbuster. It's actually like, oh, who has a
But
first?
every pick is too much.
Every pick is too much. Every pick isn't like, oh my god, jaw dropping. Like if it was just for the 8th pick at Penix and then Bo Nix at 12, like obviously like the trade scenarios, then yeah, that's fine. It's like, oh, I had the Vikings trading up with the Jets and it's for JJ McCarthy. And you have it first, great. That's cool. That makes sense. But to be like, oh, Joe Alt went 5, to Marvin Harrison went 4, when in 2 minutes they're going to announce it on TV, I don't get it.
Well, I mean, I don't get it either, right? I'm also not on Twitter looking or getting mad when it's out there.
I used to. I don't get on it. I don't even go on anymore until I wait for the pick and then I scroll a bit.
So did the Vikings trade up, or was
they swapped one? They swapped one pick with the Jets. I don't know what the actual trade was.
So Dallas Turner is allegedly who, or at least someone put that in chat. I don't know if it was.
Oh, the Vikings just traded up to the Jags at 17.
Yep. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. They just jumped up. So, and that might be to take Turner.
Gotcha.
No, it's Murphy.
Sorry.
No, it's Byron Murphy. So that's who they traded up for. Defensive tackle. All right. Edge rusher and offensive lineman still there. So that's not bad.
Turner's going to be at 17.
So it's Turner at 17. Okay. To Minnesota. Gotcha.
The trade was Jags got 23, a 5th, a 3rd, and a 4th next year. 3rd and 4th next year.
A 3rd and a 4th next year. So you really must be indifferent about any of the players that are right there. Otherwise, why do it? Right?
Yeah, no, I mean, that's not a ton of picks for a lot for 6 spots.
And it's kind of the going rate, but I don't know. Like, again, you have to be indifferent. You must really be looking at it and saying, well, we actually like this guy and we like these 2 guys, and one of them will be there at 23. So let's get some draft picks. But
if they have a couple wide receivers that they like or whatever, there's definitely a ton available in that area. Like, there's not going to be 3 receivers drafted from now until 23 probably.
Dallas Turner gets drafted. Gotta say, loving the lime green suit. Looking good. Is Roger Goodell not hugging people because of injury? I didn't.
Apparently, J.C. Latham bear hugged the crap out of him. Like the second biggest dude there.
He didn't get the memo that Goodell had an injury.
Yeah, I saw someone tweet out like, "Oh, he must have not saw that Goodell was on the injury report."
I guess he didn't, or he didn't care. Sixers up 10, under 2 minutes to go. Not a comfortable 10-point lead, but again, that's because of the 5.5 points and not the. But it's all we've also seen the Sixers blow this. So this was a game that I fully expected them to win somewhat comfortably. I didn't see a blowout happening because I just don't think the Sixers are really good enough to do that right now. But it seems like they have done enough. Although a foul is called on Oubre on Jalen Brunson. Brunson just drives down the lane and gets in and tries to initiate contact. He just wants to shoot He just wants to shoot free throws. He's a really good player, Jalen Brunson. He's really developed himself into a good player. He goes up and
he kind of floats around like just underneath the foul line and just like you're gonna whack me, I'll throw it up. And I'll get
he's very crafty because he's not like super duper athletic, you know what I mean? But he's sneaky. He is 37. Jalen Brunson, 37 points. Sixers up.
Should have took 40.
9 now with 1:47 to go. This is not comfortable. As the Sixers are getting close. We have the Bengals now on the clock. Now, Delco Steve, if you were playing, again, I guess you are. If you're playing Mel Kiper, the Mel Kiper role on the show, what would you say the needs of the Cincinnati Bengals are?
I saw an interesting thing talking about them taking Thomas Jr. at LSU for wide receiver to go all in for
T.
this
Higgins.
year, and then let T. Higgins walk next year, and you got the
Right.
LSU tandem at wide receiver going forward. That
Well,
would be, but they always need an offensive lineman. They're always dinged up there. Like we said, edge rusher could be big here with Verse, or because like you said, the run happened. If they trade Hendricks and for a second or third round, fourth round pick,
what's their corner situation?
wasn't it?
Your top corners
Apple?
are there.
Yeah, it could be a corner. Yeah, because they had Brown they let Bates walk last year, so their secondary could probably use some reinforcement.
Sixers up 7. Joel Embiid just misses the front end of his foul shot. So, and they kind of got bailed out on the call because he was fouled, but you could have very easily not called a foul there and just had him stripping him. So he hits one. Sixers up 8, 121-113. 1 minute, 6 seconds left to go as the Knicks come flying down the floor. And B gets a block, 76ers ball, probably going to, and he gets fouled. So that's damn, they're lucky right there. So Sixers trying to close this one out. So the Bengals took Mims.
Okay. Yeah,
Vince.
That makes sense.
It does make sense. Yeah, kind of what I expected. They needed an offensive lineman. That was a guy that was mocked to go in that area. So let me pull up a mock draft to see. If I had your mock draft, I would pull that one up, Steve, but I don't have that one. So
we got a couple picks, right?
Yeah. Let me see here. So let's see who's left that they had. So Terry and Arnold, he was mocked to go in right in this area. Cornerback Mims, he just went. Guyton, that tackle from Oklahoma. Is Mims the player that who's the player that only started like 8 or 9 games but is considered like really, really raw athletically?
I think it's Mims.
Is that Mims?
I think it's Mims.
I don't know if it was Mims or Guyton. Well, again, Mims is one of these guys, and honestly, so is Tyler Guyton. That they're offensive tackles that are probably going to start, depending on where they go, or they could start their career as guards. So
yeah, because we still got Fatanu. Is that how we're going with pronunciation left?
Yeah. So I would say this: if the Eagles really like one of these linemen, I would get ahead of the Steelers, because
that's this pick then.
Well, or the Rams at 19.
Yeah. That's what I mean. You have to get the 19.
Yep. So maybe like imagine if they stayed at 22 after all the talk about them not never picking at 22. Maybe they trade back. I don't know. There's been some good action tonight, but there hasn't been.
Yeah, nothing like they anticipated.
Yeah.
Three trades.
Yeah, which is a decent amount. Sixers up 123-114. Knicks are going for fouls because there's only 37 seconds left to go. So now I think it's a matter of, man, don't blow this. 123-114. So they're up 9, I guess. Let me refresh that there.
Oh, yeah, they were up 8 with 30 seconds left the other day, and they lost.
Right.
So
that's why you still hold your breath. But I'm holding my breath for the point spread, because one of these garbage threes at the buzzer, and I might just turn the computer off. Happened to me before, so I don't know. Bet.
Welcome to the betting world, buddy.
Wow. Right there on the bet parks. And beat us 48 points. 13-19. 5-7 from 3. 17-19 from the foul line. Got 8 rebounds.
I wonder what his threes were.
I actually looked at it. Well, no, I literally just said, just go over on Embiid every single thing that he has. Just go over. And
an Embiid ladder would probably have paid for a lot.
You know what I did? I did look at, and I didn't do it because I said that's too easy. It was a double-double.
Oh,
and he's sure of a double-double right now. He's only got 8 boards.
Yeah, his double was probably like minus like what 300.
Yeah, it wasn't great value.
No.
Yeah, it was. It was like a Roy Halladay start when he was Roy Halladay with the Phillies.
Yeah, that's the one you were like, yeah, I'll put $100 on it. I'll get $30 back, and then you lose and you kick yourself.
We actually did it. I was working with Missinelli at the time, and we didn't actually bet it because we would have had to go through a bookie. This was 2010 or 11. But yeah, we said, all right, like if you bet Roy Halladay every start, how much money would you make by the end of the year? And all you need to do is lose one of these games. And I'm not even talking about Halladay having a bad game. It's just the bullpen comes in and blows the lead. If he's minus 320 and you lose, you now have to win 3 games just to get even. You know what I mean? Like it's tough. So we ended up losing that. We ended up losing money that year when we kept track of the whole thing. It was the second year of Halladay in Philadelphia. But he still had a good year. It wasn't as good as the first year, if I remember correctly. But he was still dynamite. But you lose one of those games because the closer blows a save, doesn't matter.
All right, so you know how it is. You always add more on the next bet. So you're trying like, oh, he won 3 in a row. Let me add on to the next one, and then that's the one he loses.
Yeah. So if we need Delco Steve, if we need pronunciations on the Polynesian names, that's my guy Justin, who is a radio legend on Oahu and KCCN FM 100. And the biggest Eagle fan on the island. So yeah, we just need to get him to phonetically write it out for us.
I don't even know if that will help me.
It might. Yeah, it might. Why? What's ESP doing on the right now? Is he about to spontaneously combust because he can't deal with the Sixers and the draft going on right now? All right, so they're showing Amarius Mims, who just got drafted by the Bengals. He's an enormous dude, as you may expect. There you go. 6'7", 340. Yeah, man.
That's terrifying.
Yep.
And he probably runs like a 5-second 40. And it's like, yeah, imagine getting hit by that guy down.
He can't be a guard, right? He's too big to be a guard. You can't be 6'6".
There's some big guards in the NFL nowadays, dude.
I know that, but isn't that too big?
Is it like, well, Dickerson's what, 6'4"?
He might be bigger than that. Dickerson, well, he was a center too. And that's why when they drafted him, I said, dude, he's not staying at center. He's too damn big. But so I remember, so like, look at Brian Baldinger. Baldy was he was an offensive guard for the most part. He was a center and a guard. And in that era, in the 80s, you would get offensive guards that were 260 pounds. Your big offensive linemen were 300 pounds. Your offensive tackles were 300 pounds. Your guards and centers were 250, 260, right? Now look at the guards. If you're under 300, you're considered
Dickerson's 6'6", 332. Yeah. So I'd say Mims can play guard.
Yeah, that's big. the 6'7" though is pretty tall. It's 6'6" is tall too.
Ridiculous.
But I guess the way they do it now is they just before
if you're athletic enough, you can play anywhere.
And the other thing is these defensive linemen are so big and athletic these days, even though they're undersized. 76ers win 125-114, which means they cover.
Bang.
Boom. 2 games to 1. I still don't know how I feel about the series, but this was the game they needed, and this is the game that they won. Joel Embiid, 50 points. Hit the 50 burger. 50 points, 8 rebounds, 13 for 19 from the floor, 5 of 7 from 3, 19 to 21 from the foul line, just 3 turnovers, and was fantastic. Maxey, not a great shooting night, but overall a very good night. 25 points. Oubre looked good, 6 of 8, hit 2 threes. He had 15. Outside of that, you had Payne, who had hit a couple of big threes there.
He had a logo 3 too.
Yeah, he had a good night. Buddy Hield. Delco Steve said this earlier. I didn't even see it because I wasn't home yet. He came in and took a couple bad shots, and he hasn't been back in. They took him right out. Awesome. That was your big trade deadline acquisition.
Yeah, right.
Now, Kyle Lowry he's not going to shoot a whole heck of a lot, but he's out there doing everything. Gotta love Lowry. And Tobias, 8 points, 5 rebounds, no assists, no steals, 1 block. Just giving you nothing. 0 for 2 from 3-point range. I just want to play his cut every time where he's saying our fans don't know shit. And he's this great player or whatever, blah, 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 blah.
Yeah.
Jerk off. Hate it. But all right, so the Rams, the pick is in for the Rams, or it's going to be in. They're on the clock right now. So we have very quickly approaching the Eagles. Rams, Steelers, Dolphins, Eagles. The Rams, I guess on the defensive line, they need help. That would make sense here. Sean McVay, you never know with offensive skill guys. They could go anywhere.
This is McVay's first round pick.
That's right. FM picks.
Like, how is that like possible?
Well, draft picks didn't matter until you don't win a Super Bowl, then they matter again. So I'm sure he's happy to have a first round draft pick. Yeah, there's not going to be a running back taken. Is there going to be a running back taken in the second round for crying out loud?
Yeah, I think the kid from Texas will be taken in the second round, Brooks. But
there's also outside of the run of the wide receiver, you haven't had any real, and there haven't been guys really thought that we're going to be going in this range. But as you get towards the Eagles pick, that's where you might see a team that's interested in one of these other wide receivers that's there. Who's the next wide receiver that's Steve that's favored to go?
It's probably Thomas.
Yeah.
And then you have Worthy, the kid who broke the 40-yard dash record.
Right.
Yeah, his teammate in Texas, Anadai Mitchell. Yeah, Worthy's like 170 pounds.
Yeah. 5'10".
Yeah, 5'10", 5'11", something like that. You got the Coleman kid out of Florida State that projected end of the first round. You got Franklin in Oregon, end of the first round, early second. He's another speedster type guy, 4.4 speed.
Yeah,
so there's definitely some playmakers on the board here.
What did you make of Dan Graziano put it out there, and I didn't of ESPN, and a lot of people were saying that like, oh yeah, you're being used to put out this nonsense to try to throw people off the scent. But he's saying that the Eagles were talking about trading up for a wide receiver, which AJ Brown getting an extension sounds insane to use a first round draft pick on a receiver, because you have two guys making $25 million a year plus. AJ's gonna make 30 a year.
30. Yeah. Well, we got to figure out what that actual average is now on his, what he had 2 years left at 25.
Yeah.
Did they rip up any? They might have.
I don't think they ripped it up.
No, do you think they ripped up the last year on that?
No, they just
not guaranteed.
They just extend it.
So yeah, so he was at 2 years with 25 million a year left, and then got 32 for 3.
However they want to design the contract, he's probably not like his cap hit. And I'll just say it again: Jerry Jones won't pay CeeDee Lamb. You think CeeDee Lamb's looking for big time money? Of course he is. He's a great wide receiver. Could you imagine?
He's going to get the highest paid. Yeah, and now that he's waiting, he's just like Amon-Ra St. Brown just signed yesterday for the biggest contract, and now AJ Brown does it.
When is Jerry Jones going to learn?
Yeah, he did this with Dak.
When is he going to learn? You wait, you pay more. And it's almost like that he's like, nah, I want him to do another year of this. And it's like, or you could pay 20. Like if you were to sign CeeDee Lamb earlier, maybe you pay $27 million a year. Maybe that's the average. Now you said it. Now it's going to be 30 plus because he's that kind of him and AJ. I mean, AJ and CeeDee are they're different
very
receivers,
similar.
but like
stat wise,
you've said that, but they're both grade A number one wide receivers, right? They just are. AJ is like AJ. They're both great. And they don't want to pay CeeDee Lamb.
Oh, Jared Verse. Did Jared Verse go to the Rams? God damn it.
So Jared Verse goes to the Rams. Yeah, so another edge rusher goes. I really don't know what they're going to do.
It's good. Well, there's definitely going to be an offensive lineman there sitting there for him.
Yeah.
Between you got the Washington name, and Then you got Guyton, and there was another one.
Oh, defensive line or offensive lineman, you're saying?
Yeah.
Cooper DeJean is there. Barton.
Barton. That's what I was thinking.
Yeah, Barton. Cooper DeJean is still there, and everybody loves him. I don't know.
I would think he's like a CJ Gardner-Johnson type player.
He is. Yeah, that's the way he's looked at. Versatility, playmaking. I was reading one of the draft capsules from somebody. Actually, it might have been Dave Zungaro who wrote about it. But he said that he's, like the bend at the hips isn't what they look for in a true number one corner. I love these two stiff in the hips stuff.
Yeah, but if he's like a playmaking safety like Kyle Hamilton. I would be okay with that.
If I'm all for getting a great defensive back. I'm all for it. So the picks in for the Steelers, which means the Eagles now are 2 picks away, have not moved. Somewhat surprising. 76ers win.
They're going to trade back.
Think so? Yeah, but you also have...
No, we're just saying that we're sitting here waiting for it, and it's going to be like, and then they go back.
Dude, I've done draft shows where they trade out of the first round, and I just spent 4 hours waiting for a pick, and now I have to go home. It was you know what it was? It was the Kevin Cobb draft.
Oh my God.
So we're at Nick's Roast Beef in Northeast Philly, not the Woodhaven Road one, the like Cotman Bustleton area. I forget exactly where it was. We're at Nick's Roast Beef. And this was, I think, this might have been before or right at the beginning of Missinelli. We were definitely still on AM. Because Jack McCaffrey from your neck of the woods, the Delco Times, longtime Delco Times columnist, Jack McCaffrey, he was there doing draft coverage. And Quentin Michael, who was playing for the Eagles at the time, and I think it was early in his career, he was just like coming to hang out because it's like, hey, like his agent's probably like, yeah, it's not a bad thing. Go with the radio station. They'll put you on the air or whatever. When they traded out of the first round, the Kevin Cobb drafts, when they traded out of the first round, Jack McCaffrey, I thought he was going to like punch a hole in the wall. He was so pissed. They traded with the Cowboys, if I remember correctly.
They did.
And they took Felix Jones. The Cowboys took Felix Jones maybe with that pick, but I just remember like being like, so the Eagles they're not taking a player in the first round. So we've been here all night. They're not going to take a player in the first round. But anyway, so it could happen. They could totally trade out.
It's one thing going into the draft when you know your team doesn't have a first round pick and you accept that. Like, maybe they'll trade back in. But then when you're there and you're ready to go, and then it's like, no, we're going all the way back and we're going out. It's like trading back is fine, but trading out of the first round is just a buzzkill.
So is this board working out well, like in the Eagles' favor? Like Tim says, very lucky how the board's falling. Well, sure, if there's players there that they were hoping were going to fall.
I can see the Toledo kid. I can see the Toledo kid Mitchell being a pick because apparently a lot of teams were enamored with his athletic ability.
All right, so here's according to ESPN.com's NFL Draft Guide, Mitchell Quinyon Mitchell from Toledo is the first corner, overall ranked 10th, and a grade of 92. And the 92 grade just means they think he's a future Pro Bowler, right? Terry and Arnold from Alabama, corner. The offensive lineman, Faltanu from Washington. And then you have Graham Barton.
I think the Steelers just are about to take at 20.
Graham Barton?
No, Faltanu.
Yeah, like that. They definitely need offensive line help. He's the best offensive lineman there. So you wonder, Graham Barton, who his versatility is what everybody loves about him. He can play any position on the line, right? Doesn't that sound like an Eagles pick?
Yeah.
6'5", 313.
He was a center as well, too.
He was a center. He started 34 games at left tackle, and he could play center or guard. And he's like, he's not 6'5", 350, but 6'5", 313, and the ability to play left tackle. Man, if you have any injury, he could step right in and pretty much play anywhere. So, what do the Dolphins need here? Delco Steve.
Yeah.
Again, offensive line, corner. They could
Yeah,
actually go. They could actually go.
They could go a lot of
corner
ways.
here. Yeah, they could go corner right here.
Yeah, well, they had Armstead last year. He was an awesome left tackle, but he was hurt for half the year. And when you have Tua who gets hurt, or you have to worry about his injury history, they might prioritize that if they're going to pay him soon.
Here's who I don't want: Chop Robinson.
Hell no, I'm good.
God no, please don't.
I'm so good. I'm so good on not drafting Penn State players.
Totally, dude. Totally. I'm sorry. I get
Everybody gets so hyped up around here when you draft a Penn State player.
It's annoying, but also outside of that, the on-field productivity to me has to be there to take somebody in the first round.
Yep.
And I know that the advanced analytics and the metrics and him getting off the ball and how quick he is in the first step, blah 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 blah. He's not productive on the field. Last thing I need is an underachieving, super athletic guy that drives you fucking crazy. I don't need that.
Yeah, I need at least one, like if you have 2, 3, like your sophomore year, he gets off the ball, he's just not getting the sacks, he's not getting the production, fine. Junior year, same thing. But then you have like a breakout senior year. Okay, I'm good with that. It's the same thing as like Hassan Reddick breaking out towards the end of his Cardinals contract.
He does look like a bust. All right, so you say that you would have wanted Parsons. Of course, Micah Parsons is a great player, right? So where are you going next? Saquon? You got to go all the way back to Saquon? I mean, seriously, like talk about the Penn State players that have been, and I'm sure I'm missing a couple that have been good pros.
Yeah,
but, like,
but think about how everyone hyped up, like everyone was saying Sanders was, he was better than Barkley. He was just stuck behind him on the depth chart at Penn State. It's like, oh my God, I listened to that for 2 years. Dude stunk. Like, what? Great. He had his best year of the year we let him walk. He ran behind the best offensive line in football.
Yeah, like, I mean, he's not
a top 20 running back.
His rookie year, I thought he was really good. Remember he was a good receiver early on, and it's like, hold on, this guy he wasn't supposed to be a good receiver. The Wentz year.
Yep.
One of the Wentz years. Anyway.
Yeah, but he was never a top 20 running back when he was on our team, and he's still not a top 20.
I think you're not giving him enough credit. His problem was he couldn't stay healthy, and I wasn't surprised he didn't do shit in Carolina. I would have never signed him to that contract.
No, hell no.
He was good when he was here. He's a good player.
He had one really good year.
Yeah, running behind the best offensive. He didn't even get a big contract over it.
Right, and running behind an amazing offensive line, and then he goes to Carolina with that terrible offensive line, and look what he did. Absolutely nothing.
Well, I guess I just like I'm not shitting on him on the way out of the door like you are.
Well, I was shitting on him on the way in the door, so it's I wasn't going to change my tune. He didn't give me a reason to.
All right, everybody on chat, what do we think we're going to do? The Dolphins are on the clock here. We talked about the best players that were available. Still got the corners. Still got the top corners. Here's why I don't think the Eagles take the corner. They're just like sometimes the Eagles want the pick made for them. And if you're having to decide between there's like 4 or 5 corners that are out there and there's no real, this is the obvious pick. Now you have to evaluate and you have to pick the right guy. And that's not something they really seem comfortable doing. At least they haven't. It's been 22 years since they took a corner. They've been fine with buying them in free agency. And I think there's a reason for that. It's just they haven't. Lito was the last in 2002.
That's insane.
So as an organization, just like the Steelers traditionally do very well on defense and on wide receivers, but they always have a suspect offensive line because they don't do a good job of drafting and developing offensive linemen. They just really haven't. So the Eagles are very good at the lines, and they're not necessarily good with corners and before Devontae, wide receivers. And the Devontae pick was made for him. They'd have to decide Devontae or this guy, Devontae or that guy. It was obvious. It was fairly obvious. So, all right. Well, the pick's in for the Dolphins. I haven't seen if anybody out there.
I don't have it yet.
Yeah. So Jay Nice is saying that they tried to jump Pittsburgh. Is that what's being said on the broadcast here? We obviously can't listen to the broadcast and speaking. But Dolphins make the pick, so the Eagles are on the clock.
They took Chop.
Oh my God.
The
Really?
The Dolphins took Chop.
Dude, is that not the biggest Dolphin pick ever?
Yep. Well, they had what, 3 edge rushers get hurt at the end of last year, and then they lost. I think Van Ginkel signed somewhere else. The kid that stepped
He did.
the white kid with the long hair, who he played very well down the stretch for them, but I think he signed elsewhere. So they've lost probably like 3 or 4 edge rusher type players. Guess it makes sense for them.
No, it doesn't.
Oh, for them, because it's the Dolphins.
It does make sense for them. You're drafting a potential guy. The Dolphins are in a position right now to be drafting a guy that hasn't been productive in college, in my opinion. You were too close last year. You have to add to that team.
100%.
And I like their offense.
And the Bills gave you an opening this year. They
sure
blowing
did.
Everything
they sure
up.
did. Patriots blow. I think the Jets are obviously a playoff team, depending on what happens with Aaron Rodgers. And the Bills,
if Aaron Rodgers is healthy, they're a good team.
Back.
But they have a shot to win this division.
They sure didn't. Well, I mean, they should. I would still pick the Bills, but actually, I got to check that. I got to check those odds out.
I want to see who the Bills are still the favorite, but I want to see who the Bills take here. If they take a big weapon for Josh Allen.
So where are the Eagles going here, dude?
I think it's either going to be all right. It's 50% Burton, because like we said, for the versatility.
I want Graham Burton. I want the big white. I want the big white boring offensive lineman.
Honestly, of all the times they drafted offensive lineman, that one wouldn't be one that I totally hate. I'm not saying I'd be cheering for it, but I like how we talked about it for the versatility. The trade back is definitely a good option. But no, it's I don't know. I wish they didn't just sign AJ because I want Brian Thomas Jr. But I think Quinyon Mitchell would be a good corner to take. He could play in the slot as well, but they did. I mean, I guess signing Maddox, bringing him back. All
right, so check this out. That the Eagles in the offseason, I believe, were making sure that they were making their fans happy. And did they want Saquon Barkley because they thought that he was a missing ingredient to making this offense great again? Sure, but I don't think it hurt that the fans are excited about it. Eagles did a really good job this offseason of getting the bad taste out of the mouth from the end of the season.
Yeah.
So with that in mind, I know they like to build on the lines, but I mean, sexy pick, grab another offensive skill player. Bam!
Dude, Brian Thomas Jr. is a stud. I don't want I think about the Justin Jefferson draft, and I said he was the number 1 receiver in that draft from the jump, over CeeDee Lamb, over all those guys. And I'm not saying Brian Thomas Jr. is better than Neighbors or
but you think he's going to be an elite wide receiver like the rest?
I think he could be right up there with them in the same grouping. It's just
also, I didn't really so I was halfway kidding about the wide receiver, but this is where you can see the Eagles take a corner. Because I think if you were to ask the average fan, what was the average fan looking for the Eagles to draft high in this draft? A corner. You're right. And the fact that there hasn't been
they retired of Slay and Bradbury and yada, yada.
Right. You take a corner here, Howie may, he'll be back in the good graces of everybody. I don't know why he wouldn't be right now, but he'll be back in the good graces of everybody. And
he's never going to do it. I will eat my shoe if he drafts a corner.
Mitchell from Toledo feels like such a bad pick. I don't know, just because he played at Toledo. I don't know if that's fair, but he's got the number 1 corner traits, etc. I don't know.
If you're asking me which corner I like better, I think I would like Mitchell better, because it's not that he was even it's not like he was some no name that had some draft, ridiculous draft combine, and that's why
not at all.
He was a name going into this year. He was a player that people were talking about going into this year. So I'm fine with that. He has that kind of pedigree, but I think Najim would be more the type of corner that the Eagles would be looking for.
Yeah, but he's not a true number 1 corner, and this dude is, right? I
would think. I mean, or they just go with the same strategy they've been doing, draft them from Bama, draft them from
Right.
Georgia, and they take Arnold.
Right. Yep. Yeah, I don't want them to. I want them to stop doing that now. I don't.
I don't mind it. Like if you take one a year, I'm
No,
all
I know,
for taking
but
players from good programs, but to just beat it with a dead horse, they're not all going to hit.
no. Yeah, ask the Kobe Dean that.
Oh God, I thought he was going to be a steal.
Yeah, so did everybody else. And I'm not telling you that I predicted he was going to suck, but I did ask why the hell did he slip to the third round if he's so good? Oh, they're worried about his injuries. Yeah, he's been hurt.
Honestly, I think that's like type of player though that's worth the risk on a third round pick. It's great
guess.
if he hits, he hits, and he's a first round talent with those smarts and his instincts as a linebacker. But he doesn't seem to be fast enough in the.
Eagles are on the clock. 3 minutes to go before. So word's probably going to start leaking out if a trade is made or the player that's coming up. What's your prediction? I'm going big white guard from big white offensive lineman from Duke, Graham Barton. He just looks like an Eagle.
Yeah, it's probably Barton. I'm going to say they take Arnold just for the Alabama.
Well, it does make sense that the Eagles have definitely shown that they can change the way that they view what they're doing, right? So, they're paying 2 wide receivers $25+ million a year, where for many, many years you could say like, well, they don't value wide receivers like a lot of teams do in the league. That was a while ago, but
Darius Slay's tweeting about no DBs taking a lot of dogs in this class. It's like, do you want your team to draft one?
He's going to be gone regardless.
Oh, I wouldn't even be mad.
Yeah, I mean, Bradbury's not going anywhere. He could be a part of it. Maybe as a third corner or a safety. I don't know. I just don't think they're comfortable taking corners unless they view this would actually be the perfect scenario to take a corner because they view it like, hey, this guy's the best corner in the draft and he's falling right to us. Oh, look, Howie's on the phone. I think he's making the call. Hey, Graham, it's Howie. I just want to know, do you want to be an Eagle? Yeah, you want to be a Philadelphia Eagle? Because we drafted you.
I also don't think they should call the players either. I think the players should find out when the name's
from the TV.
Called. Yeah.
Remember when everybody thought Embiid, because it was on a delay, that Embiid was pissed that the Sixers drafted him, and we're like, well, what the fuck?
Yeah,
he's finding out on TV. All right, who's in the pink suit? Oh, Terry and Arnold. It's nice looking. It's a nice looking pink suit. He looks good. He's wearing sunglasses inside, which is kind of.
A lot of guys are tonight.
Yeah, well, they're cool. They're big stars.
They're trying to be me from last week.
Pick is in, Delco Steve.
Oh God, no. Is that right?
Is it Nate?
No, that's who they're showing. No, that's
they're just showing.
Okay,
I like his style.
The mute thing is just killing me.
Yeah, well, I mean, they're just going. There's the Eagle guy that goes everywhere with the pink.
He's at everything.
Yeah, he's kind of annoying.
I would love to know what he does for a living.
Actually, I shouldn't say he's annoying. He's a nice guy. I saw him on
Quinyon Mitchell.
Is it Mitchell?
Yep.
So they went with the corner?
Yep.
So they did it. It actually,
I like it.
I'm
okay with it.
It actually worked out because if they said he's our favorite corner and this is like he was our number one corner, the pick was made for him.
Yeah,
right?
If they had him as a top 10 player on their board and he falls to them at 22 and they don't have to move up for him, great. And they're going to say that regardless.
All right. Well, here's pre-draft analysis from that nerd Matt Miller on the ESPN. Says Mitchell excelled during the pre-draft process, standing out at the Senior Bowl and running the second fastest 40-yard dash of the corners at the combine. He ran a 4.33, Delco Steve. Just a little bit faster than you. No, it's not. Those performances eased concerns about the level of competition he faced at Toledo and confirmed what he shows on tape. He reads receivers and closes in a flash. breaking on the ball in off coverage. He has the frame, recovery, burst, and speed to develop into a shutdown press corner. Mitchell also has the body control to compete for jump balls, and he flashes the ability to pluck passes out of the air. His 32 pass breakups over the past 2 seasons led the country. Oh, that's Steve Munch, whoever that is. I put that out there. All right. I mean, I like it too. This is awesome. It's awesome. I'm surprised because it's been 22 years since they've taken a corner, and they have a definite need at on the offensive line. But now they have 2 second-round draft picks, and they can use. They can really go best player available. They could go defensive line. They could go offensive line. So you didn't have to use anything to trade up. Man, they get the first corner of the draft. That's pretty amazing. All right, there you go. Roger Goodell is coming out. Let me see if I can't put this up on the. Maybe you can hear it on my TV. Probably not. There it comes.
This past year, we played games in front of amazing crowds in London and Germany.
It's great how they always boom.
This upcoming season, we will play our first ever game in South America, in Sao Paulo, Brazil.
These intros to the
And we will
pictures.
be coming to more markets on a global basis.
That's because it's for the Eagles.
I know. I'm
The
just
NFL's
when they
International
do
Player
these things, I'm just like, oh
Program
my god, just get to the
helps
pick.
foreign-born players reach the NFL.
All right, Goodell.
Elite international athletes have an opportunity.
I always feel bad for him because I don't think he's a bad guy.
And potentially
No, I
But
agree.
He's not. I didn't. I thought
He's not
David Stern did.
likable, though.
No. But- But no, like I didn't like David Stern, but David Stern was like
He was a good commissioner.
He was a good
Yeah.
commissioner, right? I didn't necessarily like him. He was a good commissioner. This, I think the NFL has.
Somehow Gary Bettman's the best commissioner in sports right now, and that's saying something.
He is.
I think so. I think Adam Silver's a dope. I think he's a dope.
Oh, that's cool. Jordan Mailata's live in Melbourne, Australia.
He called him Uncle Roger.
In the 2024 NFL Draft, the Philadelphia Eagles select Quinion Mitchell, defensive back today.
Oh, there he is. All right. He looks like he's all business when you look at his appearance there.
Yeah, I prefer that than the
Me too.
screaming, yelling, and cheering. Yeah, like Caleb
Wears
Williams came out and
sunglasses.
screamed on stage. I'm like, dude, you knew you were going to be the first overall pick for how long now?
So he kind of looks like a very handsome young man. He kind of looks like a cross between D Wade and one of the characters from The Wire.
He looks like Marlo.
I don't know about Marlo. No, I was thinking.
Finished season 4, by the way.
Did you? Let me try to. I'm trying to look at a picture to see if my eye's good. A little bit like Stringer Bell.
Sure. Okay, I see it.
A little bit. But anyway, elite speed, certainly good enough size. And I don't know what but he looks the part. He does. I like this could be awesome. It could. They need him. They need their best defensive player on their team.
What did they finish? 30th in pass defense last year?
Yeah, and both your corners are old. So he can step right in and you can slide Bradbury down. Also, would anybody be surprised if Slay or Bradbury missed time because of injury? Of course not. So yeah. Gotta love pick. Oh, look at I love the extended hug by Roger Goodell. Like the extended, it's almost like, man, God, it was tough losing grandpa, but I got you, man. We're good. Meanwhile, this guy's never probably even seen Roger Goodell firsthand until today. But all right, there you go. Senior performed very well at the Senior Bowl. And the hips are probably very flexible. Because you need that. All right, well, there you go. Is everybody happy? Let me look in the chat. Everybody's probably...
Waste of a pick is the first comment I read.
Yep. So he looks stoned. Someone said. Do you believe that our new cornerback is high?
Hey, let him do
No,
him.
he's just got those eyes, man. That's what he has. He has those eyes. Some people have those eyes. Right? Oh, there's Howie. Hey, Quinion.
I hate these shots too. Like the clap.
Yeah. Hey, I'm here with Coach Sirianni and Jeffrey Lurie. Yeah. Oh, we just want to know, would you like to be an Eagle? Oh, it's awesome. There's the Mohawk guy. He was telling me we were at the same gate. He was getting on a plane. He was telling me about how, like, I guess it was the Super Bowl, the second Super Bowl year. He was telling me how high in demand he was, and like Fox was. He was shooting something with Fox and he was doing all this other stuff or whatever. I don't know if he gets paid or I don't know what he was talking about. He was like kind of like hinting that he makes money off of being that super fan guy. I guess he does, but
yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if he had an advertising something.
The Eagles haven't drafted a defensive back in the first round since 2002. Why are you the guy to change all of that?
What a stupid question. The Eagles haven't drafted a defensive back since 2002. Why should you change that? Shut up. He doesn't know. He's a good player. Oh, there he is. There he is again. All right, well, there you go. All right, so now the question is what do you do in the second round? Honestly, not that I don't like the first round. I like the second and third round. I like Friday night of the NFL draft the best. Moves a little bit quicker.
You get some surprises still, and there's definitely still good players available on the board. And then you get those trades at the top of the second round right off the bat.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. Well, there you go. Well, I mean, listen. Considering what the possibility was when this day started, the Phillies got to win. So they salvaged that series.
Another great outing for Wheeler.
Wheeler was excellent again. The 76ers beat the Knicks. Oubre went over on threes, and they covered the spread. And so that'll go to game 4. And the Eagles just got the top cornerback in the draft. There you go.
Pretty good day in Philly.
I mean, it's not bad at all.
And AJ Brown got his extension.
And AJ Brown got like $100 million extension. Yeah, let's talk about that for a second.
Yeah, so much for him getting traded today. OG. Yeah, I drank OG Wade's Kool-Aid.
Yeah, it was interesting. That's for sure. It was fun to think about it for a while.
I'm still surprised they did it this year.
Well, yeah, and again, give the Eagles credit. Like, and you know why it was important they did it this year with AJ? Because if you don't pay him, he's going to be pissed.
Yep, malcontent. Yeah.
Last thing you need is him being in here pissed. It's not worth it. Get rid of him or give him a contract now. And give him a contract now. When guys don't have guaranteed money that are left, Brian Thomas goes very next pick to the Jags. So the Jags actually got the player they probably wanted.
Probably. I'm just glad the Jags took it because the Cowboys took him. I would have been pissed.
Cowboys are on the clock. So what do the Cowboys do? This is great.
They need an offensive lineman.
They're going to take.
They take Burton or Guyton.
Burton is definitely a Cowboys pick. Actually, you know what? You're right. Both of them are Cowboys picks.
Yeah, they have. This will be the biggest addition to their team they made all offseason.
Cowboys are very good at drafting. I mean, one of the reasons why you don't see them spend the free agent dollars is they draft their guys so well. But but
they also just let a ton of guys walk this year.
I understand that the Micah Parsons contract, because of the money that he's probably asking for, is maybe a little bit trickier than the average contract. But the longer you wait, what is Micah Parsons going to be worth when he finally gets a free agent deal?
I think
$40 million a year?
I was about to say, I think you can wait a second on Parsons a bit because there's not any giant edge rushers coming up. Like Josh Allen just got his deal with the Jags at $30 million a year. He's obviously gonna come ahead of that. I think Bose is the highest right now at 34. So he's gonna come in ahead of that too as well. So he's gonna go 35, 36, 37, somewhere around there. It's like, but these receivers just keep getting signed. They keep getting signed. If Chase gets signed before, CeeDee Lamb, that's just more money for CeeDee Lamb. Ayuk can get signed. Not that he's going to be at the same level as AJ Brown or St. Brown, but if he gets, 26, 27 million, that CeeDee's going to be like, well, look at that. He only had 1 year. I've been doing this for 3 years.
Right. Did you see what Woj tweeted out about Embiid?
No. Like after the game?
7 minutes ago. Sixers star Joel Embiid has been treated for a mild case of Bell's palsy for the past week. The condition began during the play-in victory over Miami, but he wanted to keep it private to avoid distractions for the team. So that was the eye thing. So Bell's palsy is, and I don't think there's any rhyme or reason for it, but you'll see people that have like the muscles in their face, like they lose kind of they're like paralyzed. And I'm just trying to. So Bell's palsy is an unexplained episode of facial muscle weakness or paralysis. It begins suddenly and worsens over 48 hours. This condition results from damage to the facial nerve. Pain and discomfort usually occur on one side of the face or head. This dude has Bell's palsy. Oh my God. Like what? Oh my God. And he just scored 50. It's unbelievable. Yeah. So
the Bell's palsy game.
Finally we have the Bell's palsy game. Yep.
You didn't have that on your bingo card, did you?
Oh my God. It's unbelievable. Only Embiid in the 76ers, and he scores 50. And he had a great game the other night, and people were so mad after the game. It's like, oh, he's hurt again. And it's like, yeah, he's hurt. Yeah, he is hurt again. He's not, he hasn't been healthy.
He never was not hurt.
Healthy. Like, what do you want from this guy? I would love for him to be 100% healthy all the time, too. It ain't happening, folks. This is going to happen his whole career. He just deal with it or suck. Because the Sixers will suck when he's gone. And maybe, you don't need Joel Embiid. You can lose in the second round of the playoffs every single year with or without Joel Embiid. But just telling you, you don't get MVP talent like this. No, this is a once in a, I'll just say generation. You had Allen Iverson. Now you have Joel Embiid. That's Hall of Fame, generational, first ballot Hall of Fame talent, MVP talent. Before that, you had Barkley, who never really lived up to that here. When he went to Phoenix, you saw that, but he was that good here. And you had Moses Malone and Doc, and Moses was only here for a couple of years. Doc was here for a long time. And, Moses came in, won the MVP, won a championship. That's 40 years ago. So you have Moses, kind of Barkley, Iverson, and now you have Joel Embiid. And what do the last couple have in common? They didn't win shit. Iverson went to the finals at least. Outside of that, they didn't, I don't even think they went to another conference final with Iverson. And Barkley never went to a conference final. Those teams weren't good enough. So, yeah, and then Moses won the championship. So it sucks. It does. But Jesus Christ, man. Bell's palsy? Of all not on the bingo card, man. There had been some speculation about why he had been wearing sunglasses and whether that was an issue with his eyes, but that was related to the Bell's palsy, which impacts facial muscles. Yeah, absolutely. That's why he's wearing.
Is that from when Fultz elbowed him in the face all those years ago?
No, it's not.
Detroit traded up to Dallas.
So Dallas is trading back, huh?
Yep.
Who's that for?
Oh my God, their fan base is gonna freaking riot. They don't need a lineman.
They just gave Penei Sewell a shit ton of money. They just paid everybody too.
Who would they be?
Lions.
They're probably taking Arnold.
Yeah, corner. Yeah.
They need
Yeah, it
another
makes
one.
sense.
They
Makes
traded
sense.
for what's his name in Tampa last year. He's older though. Oh my god, Davis who's the corner they traded for Tampa?
I'll Google it right now. I know who you're talking about.
I love how the clock resets too. It's freaking.
Yeah, no, it shouldn't. You shouldn't get the clock reset.
They still have the lines up and it reset for the Packers. That's got it.
Gotcha. They don't even have, if you look at their depth chart, they don't even have corners on their depth chart. On the one corner. You have Carlton Davis.
That's what it is.
Yeah, Carlton Davis. I have to assume he's still under contract. But anyway.
Cowboys get an extra third, give up a 7th for a 5-spot move.
So they must have somebody that they're targeting that they feel like is going to be there.
Yeah, they had a terrible pass defense last year. They could use it.
Yep.
They don't need it. What do they need on offense? They have Laporta.
You can always use
James Williams from yeah, but they have James Williams from
he's
first
making
round.
a lot of money. No, you're right. St. Brown's making a ton of money. You're fine with running back. Yeah, you probably don't.
But the Lions do crazy stuff. They did it last year.
And you know what?
And it worked out perfectly.
Ended up being a good pick.
Perfectly. Gibbs was great at 12. I think they got Campbell at 18. Laporta in the second round. Branch in the second round.
Yeah, Laporta. I mean, you think about those. Yeah, you think about those draft picks. They got a lot of people laughed at them. Yeah, listen, it's taking a running back at 12. I don't know if it's the wisest move, but he can play, man.
Oh, Gibbs is a beast. They were talking about like, oh well, if they drafted Laporta and Branch in the first round and Gibbs and Campbell in the second round, it would be fine. It's like, all right, well, they got all 4 of them anyway. Who cares?
Yeah, they're a good team. They should have beat the Niners, the Lions.
The Niners should have lost a few times.
Yep, they should have. I love the culture that Dan Campbell sets and those guys play for him. And there's a reason why the Lions have turned around. They have a lot of talent on that team too. So I like Campbell a lot. He also loses you games with in-game decisions and shit like that. And he's not the.
So this goes back to the story we were talking about with Staley, how he flip-flops on his decision-making and he always picks the wrong decision. Campbell's like, I'm always going for it at least. He's at least being like, this is the precedent I'm setting. I'm always going to stick with that. And it's if it wins me a game, great. If it loses me again, game, okay too. So at least I'll give him that like respect on that. He's not flip-flopping, trying to pick and choose what time to be aggressive and what not to be aggressive. He's always aggressive.
Yep. All right. Well, Lions, the picks in, and then from there.
I was really hoping we just get the Cowboys pick and we could crush that and then.
Right. And then say good night.
Yeah.
Lions, Packers, Buccaneers. Arizona has that second first-round draft pick. Bills, Cowboys, Ravens, 49ers, and Chiefs. Well, we can go for a couple more minutes here and then wrap it up. Yeah, Lions are an interesting team because I think a lot of times you have these swing. And who's their pick? I didn't even see. Goodell has he's going to talk for like the next 20 minutes.
Yeah, he's got all the kids out there. He's got to talk about them.
Yeah.
But Terrion Arnold. Bang.
Is that who it is? Yep.
Nailed it.
Yep. Good pick. Good value. Good value for him. So, but like when you look around the NFL, and I forget exactly what the numbers are because I didn't look at next year, but it's almost 50-50. The number of teams that go to the playoffs, how many of those teams go back the following year?
Yeah.
And, like this, it isn't 6 of 7 from each conference goes back. No, you have the teams that you could pretty much count on being there. The 49ers, the Chiefs, the Eagles, like you can count on them. And then you have teams that are kind of in one year, out another year. For the success the Ravens have had over the last 2 decades, they also miss the playoffs a lot too. Right? They're a good organization, but they'll miss the playoffs. So they'll be in one year, they'll be out another year. The Lions, to me, look like a team that are going to be back in this year. I have very little doubt that the Lions will be back this year. I think they're here to stay. Now, Jared Goff also is on the final year of a contract, and I was just reading in the last couple of days that they're talking extension, but it doesn't seem like there's a lot of common ground in the conversations as far as an extension for Jared Goff. Lions want him to go out there and do it again. And if he goes out there and does it again, the Lions will probably play him or they'll pay him, but they're not going to bid against themselves right now.
Hey, they can do what Jerry does and franchise tag him at the end of the year.
Right. I mean, so who's going out right now and saying, hey, Jared Goff, we'll give you $35 million a year? Right. I don't know how many teams are chomping at the bit to do that. He would have interest for sure out there. But like if the Lions want to pay him $40 million a year, they'll make him prove it again this year. And then they'll pay him the $40 million or $35 million a year.
Interesting scenario would be, well, Brian Johnson stayed there, Brian. We had Brian. We had Brian
Johnson. Ben Johnson.
Not
the disgraced Canadian sprinter that lost his. No, Ben Johnson, the offensive coordinator. Yeah, he elected to stay rather than take a job, which people
he's crazy. Significantly helped Jared Goff's career. If he were to take a job next year and they needed a quarterback with Goff being available, could that be a team that would be interested, hypothetically speaking?
Well, and you had said this, and it's actually a great point on it. We learned last year with the Eagles how losing your coordinators can really kill your team, right? You look at the Eagles;
they did it the last 2 Super Bowl runs.
Yes, they lose their coordinators, and the team goes to shit, and the offense goes to shit. And look at what happened at the end of last year. Clearly, they were overmatched offensively. The play calling was terrible. So they don't lose that. Because, again, with Dan Campbell, and now Nick Sirianni's become this guy, he's just Dan Campbell now. He has no power offensively. So you have to rely on a coordinator to really, that's their offense. And if you lose them, you're screwed. It's one of the disadvantages of having a defensive coach is if you're a successful team, you're going to get your offensive coordinators poached most likely, unless you have a longtime guy that isn't viewed as being head coaching material. But Ben Johnson, unless he's shown to be a fraud, is going to have choices to be a head coach. And the fact they were able to retain him this year for another year is really, really good for Jared Goff. Really good for Jared Goff.
When they lost in the NFC Championship to the Niners, Campbell in the locker room after the game was saying, we're more than likely not going to be here again, talking as if they're going to lose a lot of the guys that performed well for them last year, including the coaching staff. And most of them, they didn't lose a lot of those guys. So why wouldn't they be right back in contention for that? That NFC North is going to be wild this year.
Yeah, for sure.
Caleb Williams and McCarthy going in with Jordan Love, another young quarterback.
Packers looked really good at the end of the year.
Yep. Division's going to be wild. Can't wait.
Yeah. Yeah, some people saying they're mad that you took the guy from Toledo and not Alabama. I mean, I remember it used to be said that the Alabama corners couldn't play, and that's changed a little bit since then. But I'll say, who's the corner the Jets took pretty high in the draft? Because I remember I wanted the Eagles to take him, and he was nothing more than an average. Let me see.
In what time frame?
10 years ago, 15 years ago. Jets cornerback, Alabama. D. Milner. D. Milner was 2013, and
he busted out real quick.
And I remember, did he even get a second contract? I remember.
No, I don't think so.
He didn't.
So he got cut before the end of it too.
He did. Yep, and he was 9th overall. I remember in that draft and the draft process, kind of the word, what people like to say, and it became almost like a canned response is, "Oh, well, you can't trust the corners from Alabama. I don't want D. Milner." And then it happened. And then Milner he sucked. But there's been Humphreys from Alabama. Yep. Is that correct? So I mean, there have been some good corners that have come out since then. But listen, here's what I have to do. Right, I have to trust.
Oh, Milner's got an Eagles. Was on an Eagles team as a kid, and he's had the same Eagles logo on the inside of his jacket.
No way.
I mean, I doubt it's for the Philadelphia Eagles, but it's the same. It was the same graphic as the old
But that would have been that
oh,
would have
yeah.
been a pretty big story if the Eagles would have drafted him and he was like, "Hey,
Eagles.
wow, that's crazy." All right. The AJ extension. We talked about it at the beginning here before we jump off. Again, we don't know internally what was going on. And AJ took it to heart, saying that a lot of people were blaming him and saying he was a bad teammate or he was a part of the problem in the locker room. Really, the only thing negative that we've heard about him was that his body language was bad. I remember there was a veteran player that told one of the reporters that his body language was bad, and it's not good to the young players to have a player of his caliber have bad body language like that. But then we also heard about Jalen Hurts that, veteran players, including Howard Eskin, on the record that Fletcher Cox had a problem with the way he was acting and said something to him and had a conversation. So if that was really going on, then maybe the issue in the locker room wasn't A.J. Brown at all, and it was the quarterback. So regardless, the Eagles were obviously comfortable with A.J. Brown staying here long-term because they just gave him historic wide receiver money. I mean, it is absolutely unbelievable that the Eagles pay everybody. Like Landon Dickerson, most money in NFL history for a guard. A.J. Brown, highest average annual for a wide receiver. Who else did they sign?
Hurts was originally last year.
Mailata just got a bag. Lane Johnson's isn't he the highest paid tackle?
Oh, he was until Sewell. I think until the other day.
Man. So the Packers are making the pick here. And Big Raj is he's feeling a little bit more comfortable. He's laughing.
I don't even know who that offensive lineman is.
I don't even see it.
Jordan Morgan?
He's not on any.
Arizona.
So they're showing the cheesehead, and she's like, huh? Who? Jordan Morgan.
Yeah, I'm sure she knew exactly every pick available.
To your point, I looked through all the mock drafts just like you. I don't ever remember seeing the name.
Nope.
Which tells you that they really like the dude, or NFL mock draft, Jordan Morgan, or they just reached on a player and it's a bad pick.
Did they pull the Patriots and draft the guy that everyone else had in the third or fourth round?
Patriots did that with Strange. Yeah, and he sucked so far.
Yeah, McVay was in the middle of a press conference when the pick happened. He just started cracking up laughing. He's like, we had him as we were talking about taking him with our first pick in the fourth round. Because that was their first pick in the draft.
So just looking through it right here, there are definitely a lot of mock drafts that have Morgan going in the first round. Some Chiefs, because the Chiefs have offensive line. It seems like more towards the end of the first round. So this wasn't a guy that was ever mentioned with the Eagles. That's probably why I don't recognize his name. He was
it's not too much. It's not too much of a reach then.
I mean, if he's a good player.
Yeah, but you still got Burton on the board. You still got Guyton on the board.
It's fascinating. Every year
you freak.
Yeah, you're right. It's fascinating to me, the guys that slip. You know what I mean? Like you're like, oh well, it's like, wow, well now it's the second day. Now he's a second round draft pick. Now he's got to wait.
No one went to his birthday party. That's why they slipped.
Yep. All right, the Packers draft room. There you go.
I think that's a guy.
All right. Buccaneers have their pick coming up here, and it's already in. I like when they get the pick in right away.
Yeah, and then you still have to wait 5 minutes for
because they have it timed out. They don't want to hear that. They have commercials they got to play. All right, what's the as we wrap up the night in the NFL draft? Michael Penix Jr. getting drafted by the Atlanta Falcons at 8 is obviously the biggest shock of the evening. There, Delco Steve.
5 quarterbacks, 3 wide receivers in the top 10, and then Bo Nix at 12. That's just insane.
I can't wait to hear. I don't think the Falcons have spoken yet. I don't know. They're going to before the end of the night. I can't wait to hear what they say, because they're obviously going to say, we love the player. we felt like it was like we couldn't pass on him. But how do you explain giving Kirk Cousins $50 million, or was it $100 million guaranteed over the next 2 years?
Yep.
To where you more or less have to play him, but you more or less have to play this guy because you just drafted him top 10, and he's going to be 24 next month. So
yeah, what pisses you off more on your bench? Your first round pick or the guy you just gave $100 million?
Well, I know it's Atlanta, but like, so you're going to put Kirk Cousins in the game, and then when he turns into Kirk Cousins, you're a big Kirk Cousins guy, so
I do like Kirk Cousins. I think he's gonna. Well, now I don't know what's gonna happen.
Sure, he's gonna be. Yeah, but if he's great and he turns into this like, wow, like he's really like he's a great quarterback now. So what are you gonna do? Take him out and put Penix in? It's a lose-lose situation. It's stupid. Let's say they can trade him.
Hey Raiders, what do you want for him?
And what does Kirk Cousins say about this?
That's the reaction I'm more interested in than anything. It's like they had to have run it by him beforehand. Not getting his permission, obviously. Just be like, hey,
I don't know, man.
By the way, just so you're not shocked, like this is what we're thinking about doing. They had to have. They had all right, so it makes no sense if they don't.
So Daniel Jeremiah says the following. I just reached out to his agent, Mike McCartney. He was not given a heads up. Kirk Cousins was not given really a heads up on this whole thing. Just signed a 4-year, $180 million contract. And
I don't get how these teams do this kind of stuff. Like the Eagles doing the same thing with Wentz and not telling him they were drafting Jalen Hurts.
So essentially, Cousins is a 2-year contract.
Yeah, I mean, he is 37 years old too.
Honestly, if they believe Penix is the guy that can win the Super Bowl for him, go for it. You got him at 8, go for it. It's just, why would you there's got to be a philosophy here. If the philosophy is we're going to sign Kirk Cousins because we think, like, you more or less sign Kirk Cousins because you're just trying to make the playoffs. That's a stupid move long-term to sign Kirk Cousins. It's dumb, right? Draft a quarterback, get a young quarterback, let him grow with your young core. They just did that. Why are they signing Kirk Cousins? Like, it's a way to start out an era of both a guy they just signed a month ago and a top 10 quarterback. Now you've created a mess right off the bat.
Right. They could have used any draft capital to trade up from 8 to get, Jaden Daniels or Drake May if they wanted to, and not sign Kirk Cousins in the offseason.
I would never sign Kirk Cousins if I was the Falcons or a team like that. I want to. They're still waiting on the Buccaneers pick here.
I'm not saying for like how far they would go in the playoffs sort of thing, but I think that offense would put up big numbers with Kirk Cousins without any distraction. And if he comes back healthy.
I agree. The Raiders would have made sense. Like, all right, so here's what I mean. There's a band now playing or something. Like, for the Eagles have won a Super Bowl. They've been to 2 Super Bowls in 6 years or whatever. So I don't need a Kirk Cousins or something like that because I'm not happy with just making the playoffs and winning a game. The Falcons would be happy with being a playoff team, even if it means dog shit long term. The Raiders would be happy with just being a playoff team and having a chance to win a playoff game. And that could be Kirk Cousins. It gets to a point with a player like that, like Minnesota, they're just like, well, like, we don't want, even though they did want him, but I would never want Kirk Cousins on my team because my franchise isn't a bad franchise. So bad franchises want that guy, right? Like, I mean, the Buccaneers somehow win Super Bowls in unconventional ways as they've done, but they have Baker Mayfield. Like, if you want to have Kirk Cousins because you're trying to figure out who your next quarterback's going to be and you say Kirk Cousins gives us 2 years, they must not have thought Michael Penix was anything before they started this draft process. Right?
Yeah, 100%. You don't I don't know. You don't sign Kirk Cousins if you really like any of these quarterbacks, in my opinion. Because you had the ability to probably go get any single one of them except for Caleb.
No, the Washington and the Patriots weren't trading out those.
No,
spots.
but of all the other teams that were trying to trade up to those spots, they were the only one that was a realistic drop back.
Yeah.
Everyone else is coming from 12,
Yeah,
13,
it's not too far
and
back.
deeper.
You're right.
So if they wanted one of those guys, they could have put up like the package that the Rams gave up to go to 1, or we gave up to go to 2. You know, those kind of, or the Command or Washington when they went up for RG3. From
Graham
8.
Barton goes to the Buccaneers at pick number 26.
Yeah, they just had Jansen retired. So that makes sense. Replacement.
No,
pick.
that's a good pick for the Bucks. Yeah, sure. Whatever. Give it off with the lineman. I don't know.
Hey, they got all the skill positions covered.
They sure do. They sure do, and they're making a lot of money. But I mean, the cap is the biggest bunch of bullshit in the world. The salary cap in the NFL. The Eagles just paid everybody. All right,
Yeah,
Arizona. Where are they going?
They got to be going D.
They got Marvin Harrison with their first pick, which is
Darius Robinson, Edge, Missouri.
Yeah, makes sense.
Yeah, they need defense. That's a killer suit.
You like that? Could you pull that off?
No.
No, you don't. Even your Delco blood couldn't pull that one off. I gotta see what it looks like from the front. He's kissing everybody.
Got a black lapel.
Yeah, see, he definitely pulls that off. That's a big dude.
6'5".
6'5", 285. And he's a monster. That Missouri team.
That's a horse collar.
Yep. Oh yeah. He's a yeah. Yeah, he's going for 15 yards on that one right there. All right, well, there you go. All in all, very good night here. And I look forward to seeing what
we're draft recap on Monday.
Oh man, we're gonna have so much to talk about on Monday. And when the Sixers play again? Is that a Saturday, I guess, or a Sunday?
I believe it's Saturday.
Let me see here. I had Herb call me like 6 times
No,
today.
Sunday.
It is a Sunday, yeah. That's what
Sunday, 1:00.
Yeah, awesome. Just what I feel like doing in the middle of my Sunday afternoon.
Your kid's gonna let you do that?
I don't even know what we have on Sunday. Well, I mean, honestly, 1:00 is nap time for my daughter. So,
that's perfect.
Right. Well, I mean, the other kids don't care about that, but it means that I will most likely be home and I won't have anything going on to where we're.
How'd your play date go the other day?
It went all right. It was actually ended up being back-to-back play dates because then people came over in the afternoon and for like lunch. There was like 12 6 to 9-year-old girls running around in my backyard because they had off school on Tuesday or Wednesday. I don't remember what day it was. At this point, it was Tuesday. It was Tuesday. They were voting. Yeah,
it was it. So it was something with elections.
Yeah, it was. All right. Well, Delco Steve, yes, and Herb next week. Herb and I can't get on the same page, man. We've been trying. He was calling me. He wanted to come on before the Sixers game. Before the last game 2. But it was like he called me and I'm like, I was like in the middle of something. I wasn't going to stop to whatever. And then today he was calling me, but he was working all day. So he was just calling the chat. He wanted to talk to me because we haven't talked in a while. And he said, did you hear Ike Reese had a leak at his house yesterday? That was the last text that he sent me. But the earlier text at 2:22, he said, can you get a hold of Brian Baldinger and we can do a YouTube with the 3 of us on the Eagles draft? So Herb was pitching me the idea of bringing Baldy on with Herb.
Oh, you gotta love it.
Now that would be good. That'd be good viewing, but I wouldn't do that to Baldy because he, know if Baldy would get it like we would.
Oh, Baldy would be losing his mind. Oh, Bills trade.
Oh, what we got?
Oh, the Kansas City. What's going on? They got to be taking it. I don't
Receiver?
I would think. Because what happens with Rashid Rice?
You know what happens with him? I don't think he plays this year.
I don't either.
Or a lot of the year.
So yeah, I think they need a receiver.
Mhm. Yeah, I know Baldy is with PHLY, Kevin, but I mean, I could still I could text Baldy and say, "Hey, can you do this?" And he would do it, but I wouldn't do it to him with Herb. That wouldn't be fair.
I can only imagine how that would go.
So is this pick coming in? Now I'm dying. All right,
No,
let's see
it's
what let's see the
commercial.
Chiefs pick, and then we'll jump off. I want to see what they do here. So who's the wide receiver that is consensus number one right now? Because they really,
It'd probably be Worthy.
even though we say they really need a receiver, they just won a Super Bowl without great receivers.
It's either Worthy,
Yeah, Worthy.
Adonai Mitchell, McConkey, Coleman.
It doesn't seem like it's going to be McConkey.
I don't think so either, but they're the next, 4 or 5. Yeah.
Well,
there's a kid from South Carolina. I forget his name off the top of my head.
Leggett.
Yes.
Yeah,
Worthy with 4.2 speed with Mahomes. That doesn't sound like a terrible idea.
And listen, Andy has been known to, if you remember the draft with where Swift was the consensus number one running back, and Andy ends up he ends up being a stiff. He's still with him, I think, on a 1-year contract. What's his name?
Clyde Edwards.
Yeah, Edwards-Helaire.
Well, he came off that awesome championship run with LSU, so he shot up the boards.
No, he did, but Andy definitely. I didn't hear anybody say that Edwards-Helaire was the number one running back in that draft. Andy has his own board, so
Andy said he was Brian Westbrook.
Right, exactly, and that's why he did it. He thought he was getting his Brian Westbrook, and boy, is he not. But he may look at a guy like you had said, Xavier Worthy. He may be a little bit slight and smaller, but when you're talking about a 4.2 guy, Hill. Yeah, exactly. Well, I mean, exactly. He looks at him and says, "I already know how I'm going to use him." He's a deep threat. He is let Mahomes throw the ball up to him and let him run underneath it. But he also doesn't have maybe enough size. Lad McConkey's name is Lad, so I can't. He
can't be a first round pick because his name's Lad.
I can't. He's got to wait till the second round. The McConkey's fine because Phil McConkey, who I believe is his uncle, was a stiff punt returner for the Giants back in the 80s. He wasn't a stiff, but he was a little white guy with a mustache. So I don't know. There you go. I think that was his, not his son, but whatever. Yep. All right. Well, yeah. And seriously, with the Rashid Rice stuff, I mean, like I get young people make mistakes. And when you give somebody a lot of money and everything else, like I don't want to kill the kid forever. And he said, all right, I'm going to, I take full responsibility and whatever else, but
and thankfully no one was seriously injured.
Sure.
In that.
Oh, well, it's going to cost him. He's in big time trouble financially. He better hope he gets back in the league quick and he's a star because he's going to need that money. He's going to get sued when you do that shit. But it's a pretty big deal, and it's tough. It's tough to think that he's not going to get suspended for and I don't even know. I know Goodell had talked about it, and he said they're letting the legal process kind of figure itself out right now. They don't have to do anything about it. Yeah, they got Hollywood Brown. Hollywood Brown's nothing more than
Xavier Worthy.
Is it Worthy?
Yep. And he's electric. He's electric. He reminds me of Deshaun Jackson. He goes every time he touches the ball. I don't think he's not physical.
Bingo.
So, there you go. There's Andy drafting his other Eagles type player.
Bingo. Yep. Makes all the sense in the world, bro.
Yep. My boy Nick Costas tweeted out it's gonna be hilarious when he goes 3 for 145 and 2 touchdowns against the Bills this season.
Yep. Yeah, seriously. Yeah. I agree with the 3 for 145. He's not going to be a high catch volume guy.
Home run after home run after home run.
Holy cow, man. Andy doesn't care about that.
Yeah, just when we get it in your hands, catch it. That's it. And run.
Man, what a great pick. What great value. You're jumping up with the Bills. I would, if I was the Bills, I would have told them to fuck off.
Oh, that's one of the teams you just don't trade with.
Nope.
They swapped. The Chiefs got 28, 133, and 248 for 32, 95, and 221.
So what did they even get? Like they got like a third, but they had to give up something for it.
They moved up from in the 4th round to the 3rd round, and probably the 7th round to the 6th round, if I'm doing my math off the top of my head.
Yeah,
right?
and out of spite, I'm not giving Andy Reid anything that he wants.
Right. How do you help them?
You're going to have to deal with somebody else. And in fact, let me try to figure out who you're going to take, and I'm going to take them. They needed a freaking wide receiver. The Bills don't have a wide receiver.
You have the biggest arm quarterback in the league that could use that 4.21 speed. Like, I don't know.
Could you imagine if you're a Bills fan and you just traded away a wide receiver?
Mahomes is happy. He tweeted right away.
Maybe this is a
funny emoji.
Maybe they feel like they like Mitchell from Texas. They want a wide receiver, but they want Mitchell.
Yeah, he's a bigger body, and he still ran like a 4.33 or something like that. So again, not that he's slow by any means.
Right. They view like that. We'd rather have that wide receiver than kind of an undersized guy that. Yeah, it's man, you go Andy Reid, winning all those Super Bowls. Xavier Worthy. Well, there you go. You got it. All right. Well, Cowboys are going to probably take a center here or something like that. Awesome. All right. Well, there he is. This is where he gets the call. There he is.
5'11", 165. Whew.
Yeah, that's not it's not great size, but Andy sure the hell knows how to use these guys.
Yeah, I'm not worried about him in the slightest there.
I didn't. And by the way, when John Ross ran as fast as he did, because he hurt himself, if you remember when he ran it, I remember my reaction being like, "You're going to draft like he plays in the Pac-12. Like, what are you doing? Like, you're going to overvalue this guy now because he was playing in some college rinky-dinky offense." But this guy looks a little bit different. He looks like he can have a real impact on he is not big.
Just got an ESPN update. Kirk Cousins camp frustrated, confused by Falcons' selection of Penix.
They must really not care, man. That is crazy.
Oh, that's ballsy.
Well, speaking of ball, what about Bell's palsy? Joel Embiid with Bell's palsy.
The Bell's palsy 50-point game in the playoffs to bring them to start the comeback in the playoff series against the Knicks.
That trumps any kind of flu game that Michael Jordan had or whatever.
Yeah, right. They got to win the series for it to matter.
God, man, is it a mini stroke? No, it's not. All right, well there you go. All right, well listen, everybody have a good weekend. Delco Steve. I'll talk to you on Monday. We'll have a big recap of a lot of stuff going on, Sixers and draft, and
should have a lot more
to talk about. Yep. All right, man. Enjoy the draft. Enjoy your weekend.
All right. Peace.
All right, everybody. See ya.